I'll never forget the summer I spent on my grandparents' farm in rural Nebraska. The endless fields of corn that stretched as far as the eye could see were a sight to behold, but also a constant reminder of the isolation that came with living in such a remote area. It was a place where the sun beat down relentlessly, and the only sounds you'd hear for miles were the rustling of the corn leaves and the occasional cry of a bird. I was 16 at the time, and my parents had sent me to live with my grandparents for the summer, hoping the hard work and fresh air would do me some good. My grandparents were kind and wise, but they were also strict and demanded that I earn my keep by helping out with the farm chores. I didn't mind the work, but I did mind the feeling of being trapped in such a desolate place. One day, while I was out working in the cornfield, I saw him. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the light, a shadow cast by the tall corn stalks. But as I looked closer, I realized it was a figure, standing perfectly still, about 20 feet away from me. He was tall, at least 6 feet, and impossibly thin, with long fingers that seemed to be curled into claws. He was dressed in a long, black suit that seemed out of place in the sweltering heat, and his face was deathly pale. I tried to call out to him, but my voice caught in my throat. I was frozen with fear, unable to move or speak. The figure didn't seem to notice me, though. He just stood there, staring straight ahead, his eyes fixed on some point in the distance. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, my heart pounding in my chest. Finally, I managed to tear my eyes away from the figure and ran back to the farmhouse, not stopping until I was safely inside. I didn't tell my grandparents about what I saw. I was too afraid. But over the next few days, I caught glimpses of the figure again, always standing in the same spot, always staring straight ahead. I began to feel like I was losing my mind, like the isolation and the heat were getting to me. And then, one night, I woke up to the sound of someone whispering my name. I sat up in bed and looked around, but the room was empty. The whisper seemed to be coming from outside, from the cornfield. I threw off the covers and ran to the window. And that's when I saw him. The figure was standing right outside my window, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. I tried to scream, but my voice was trapped in my throat. The figure started to move towards the house, his long fingers grasping for the windowsill. And then, everything went black. When I came to, I was lying in my bed, my grandparents standing over me, looking worried. They told me I must have had a nightmare, that I was safe and sound. But I knew what I saw, and I knew that the figure was still out there, waiting for me. I never went back to that farm again, and I never told anyone about what I saw. But sometimes, in my dreams, I still see the figure, standing in the cornfield, waiting for me. And when I wake up, I'm left with the feeling that he's still out there, watching me, waiting for me to return. I've tried to convince myself it was just a product of my imagination. But deep down, I know the truth. The figure in the cornfield was real. And he's still out there, waiting for me. I can feel his eyes on me, even now, as I'm writing this. And I know that one day, he'll come for me. And I'll be dragged back to that cornfield, forever trapped in a living nightmare. The thought sends shivers down my spine, and I'm left with the haunting question. What was he waiting for? Was it me? Or was it something else? The not knowing is what terrifies me the most. And it's what keeps me up at night, staring at the window, waiting for the figure to appear. His eyes glowing with an otherworldly light, his long fingers grasping for me.